Dr. Sivaraj Gunasekaran of Singapore, and Dr. Amila Ratnayake of Sri Lanka. Dr. Sivaraj Gunasekaran is a consultant surgeon at Khoo Teck Puat Hospital in Singapore. Dr. Amila Ratnayake is a colonel of the Sri Lanka Armed Forces, a consultant surgeon at Army Hospital Colombo in Sri Lanka. He is an adjunct associate professor at Uniformed Services University of the Health at Maryland in the USA. Ladies and gentlemen, our conference moderators, Dr. Sivaraj Gunasekaran and Dr. Amila Ratnayake.
Dr. Orlando Geraldo Cruz, the chairman of the Asian Collaboration of Trauma, to give his greetings. Dr. Orlando obtained his MD from University of Santo Thomas, Manila in 1984. He completed his residency in orthopedic surgery and traumatology at the Armed Forces of the Philippines Medical Center. From 1987 to 2000, he served as a regular officer in the Medical Corps of Armed Forces of Philippines, and he's a member of multiple renowned organizations, including North American Spine Society, Association of Military Surgeons of the United States, and he's a past president of Philippine Society for Surgery of Trauma. So I invite Dr. Orlando to give his greetings to the webinar. Over to you, sir.
My dear colleagues, friends, and comrades, the Greek physician Hippocrates, who lived from 460 to 366 BCE, famously exclaimed, "One who wishes to be a surgeon must first go to war." Some of our forefathers went to war to take care of the unfortunate who came in harm's way, and in doing so, have learned the treatment of injuries sustained in the battlefields. Many generations of these healers passed this wisdom, experience, and learning gained over time in the battlefields to those who follow them through discussion, discourse, and storytelling. One of these healers is Ambroise Paré, a Frenchman who started from a humble origin as a barber surgeon and rose to become the leading surgeon of the Renaissance. It was his experience at the Hotel Dieu that permitted him to serve as a surgeon to the French army, and through his open mind, Ambroise Paré made many innovations during his career. Originating from a family of barber surgeons, he unraveled the secrets of surgery at an early age, and he masters it by participating in the many military actions of the French army of those times. As recognition of his merits, the kings of France proclaimed him their chief barber surgeon and even president of the Royal College of French Surgeons. Ambroise Paré served in that role for 4 kings, namely Henry II, Francis II, Charles IX, and Henry III. Today, we give honor to a celebrated war surgeon who is fondly remembered for his gentle treatment of gunshot wounds. He abolished the painful practice of cautery to stop bleeding and used ligatures and dressings instead. Through his techniques, he guided the development of the gentle art of surgery and thus became the founder of modern surgery, a restorative process that heals the body with minimal suffering and is now regarded as the father of surgery. Ambroise Paré has brought many contributions and innovations to the development of medicine. Worldwide, his name is closely related to the use of surgical hemostasis. As a true professor, he offered his entire medical experience through the publication of 25 manuscripts that address various medical specialties. Perseverant and perfectionist by nature, Ambroise Paré represents a true role model for generations of surgeons to come. He wrote the overs edited as early as 1575 from the first opuscles, or little works, and produced even at that time as a comprehensive synthesis of the surgical art by assembling not only the experiences and opinions concerning the surgery of his period as a whole, but also contributing essential details about the surgical instrumentation of the 16th century. Ambrose Paré contributed much to this, thanks to his innate sense of the operative art, from which he drew largely from experience gained during his military campaigns. His story has been part of the history of our learning of how best to treat various injuries sustained through innumerable wars and conflicts. And today, we will be listening to and raising the curtain to do exactly the same, to listen to stories of four eminent scholars, visionaries, and leaders, members of the Ambrose Paré International Military Surgical Forum, who will narrate their experience from the line of duty that we can never imagine to be in. They are Professor Ken Beaufort from South Africa, Colonel Edward Tan from the Netherlands, Colonel Avi Benov from Israel, and Professor Mansour Khan from the United Kingdom. Our sincerest appreciation goes to Professor Norman Rich, the initiator of the Ambrose Paré International Military Surgical Forum, who is represented by Captain Eric Elster of the United States Navy, who is our keynote speaker, and the Norman M. Rich Professor of Surgery at the Uniformed Services University of the Health Sciences in Bethesda, Maryland. Our helpful thanks also goes to Colonel Kosala Somaratne, the present president of the forum, Dr. Bonimir Lobrick, the Secretary General, and to Dr. Kenan Yusufzadeh, the immediate past president of the forum. We are also delighted to have an equally eminent panel of reactors composed of Dr. Hang Ju Cho from South Korea, Dr. Ashok Kanan from Malaysia, Dr. Krairo Jananan from Thailand, and Commander Tamara Walton from the United States Navy. Moderating for this webinar will be Colonel Amila Ratnayake of Sri Lanka and Dr. Sivaraj Gunasekaran from Singapore. Thank you again, Dr. Amila and Dr. Sivaraj. Our sincerest gratitude also goes to our industry sponsor, ADP Pharma, represented by Ms. Cathy Mayor, who provided our webinar platform. May I also thank the Scientific Program Director, Dr. Chuming Turk, as well as the Education Committee Chair, Dr. Amit Gupta, the Vice Chair, Dr. Raj Menon, our Research Committee Chair, Dr. Amila Ratnayake, and the Secretariat led by Ms. Rinslin Hikban, Ms. Vanessa Chensa, and Mr. Goel de la Cruz. They have been the forces behind setting this collaboration and this webinar series. May I close with an African proverb: if you want to walk fast, walk alone. But if you want to go far, walk together. May this joint webinar signal the start of a lasting collaboration between the Asian Collaboration for Trauma and the Ambrose Paré International Military Surgical Forum. Have a good day and please enjoy the webinar.
Now I invite Dr. Kosala Somaratne, current president of Ambrose Paré International Military Surgical Forum. Kosala graduated from Peradeniya University, Sri Lanka, and he completed his MD surgery at Colombo University. And he enrolled in higher surgical training at UK Oxford University Hospital. Currently, he is serving as a consultant surgeon at Ministry of Health Sri Lanka. Over to you, Dr. Kosala Somaratne, to give your greetings to the webinar.
My dear friends, it's a great evening today. I hope you all can hear me. So it's a great event today we have at our hands. The premier military surgical organization of the world, the APIMSF, and the premier trauma organization of the great continent of Asia is holding this joint event. And I'm immensely thankful to Rolando, my good friend, and his great team for organizing this event. I know how much of trouble they took to organize this event for a couple of months, I know. I don't think I should introduce any more about the Ambroise Paré. Rolando gave a very extensive introduction about the beginning and who Ambroise Paré is and everything. And so today we have a great set of speakers from APIMSF, Ken Buffett from South Africa, and Avi Benav from Israel, and Mansoor Khan from UK, and equally it's a great set of surgeons from the ACT as moderators and reactors. Actually, this event bears the hallmarks of a military surgical event, I would say. Why I say that Colonel Avi Benav was called to deploy just 2 days back, and he wanted actually to lecture live, but he could not do anymore. So we had to scramble and find some other option. So this is typically military, and I love it. Yeah, that's how military goes. It's really military surgical. And so I think, as Rolando very correctly mentioned, this joint collaboration should not be limited to just one event. This should be the start of a great collaboration between our two organizations. And Asia is a great region, a vast region of the world, and it has offered great amounts of knowledge to the civilizations, many civilizations. And I think ACT carries the same tradition, the same great Asian tradition, and your membership and your contribution to the military surgery is great and could be really great, and we could together have a really fruitful and a great relationship in the future. So without consuming much time, let's proceed to this great event today. And I'm thankful to my good friends from Azerbaijan, Kenan and Zonamir, our General Secretary from Croatia. And we are very happy to see these great guys here. And welcome everybody, the great surgeons from ACT and all the members here. Have a good evening, and let's proceed to this event.
Thank you, Kosala, especially giving the leadership to this great collaboration to happen in the coming years. Now,
we have a message from Dr. Zvonimir Lavrik. He is the Secretary General of the APIMSF since 2013. He's the president of the APIMSF from 2011 to 2013. And he's the chief surgeon at the University Hospital of Dubrava at Croatia. He's a professor of surgery and traumatology in the University of Applied Health Studies, Zagreb. And he was a commander-in-chief and colonel of the mobile surgical teams of special police forces of the Croatian police. So Dr. Lavrik.
Dear colleagues and friends, good evening, good afternoon, and good morning. I'm very proud to be part of this meeting. My pleasure is even greater when I see a lot of friends from the Ambroise Paré International Military Surgery Forum. Today, we are going to talk about integration of military trauma experiences in civilian settings. While we discuss these topics, there is a war going on where the experience and skills of civilian surgeons might be questioned and insufficient in war settings. Therefore, I would like to remind all of us and those following this webinar with less military or war trauma experiences that the moment might burst out when a civilian surgery department or whole hospital should be transformed into a war hospital. It is not simple, but following some rules makes it easier. Many years ago, I have presented my experiences from the homeland war in Croatia. Hoping that it would not be boring, I would like to point them out once again. We used to call them 10 Commandments. First, organize and set up the concept of admission, triage and management of unknown and undefined number of wounded through unknown time in defined location and limited area with limited number of staff. Second, constantly maintain in the highest degree of preparedness sufficient number of specialized medical and other professionals associated in routine work. Number 3, provide constant recruitment of staff due to 30% of estimated loss of staff. 4, take care about psychological condition, moral and spirit, and carrying out maximal security measures for patients as well as for the staff. Number 5, subject all other medical activities to the needs of surgery. 6, maintain sufficient number of spare beds. 7, determine rules of evacuation of patients, staff and equipment in several variations. 8, provide optimal supply with medical and surgical material. 9, provide integrity and functioning of all technical systems in hospital. And finally, 10, establish absolute hierarchy in giving and executing the commands. Following these rules, you will be capable to master the most highlighted problems, which are: triage officer must be the most experienced surgeon, to establish elastic organization of the staff, to diminish the risks of endangering your staff, to have full access to all diagnostic wards, to control the roulette with available beds and spare beds, to override energetic breakdowns in hospital and food lack, to avoid problems with discipline and obedience. Dear colleagues, I think that's enough from me. Many greetings to everybody and a lot of success to the whole webinar. Greetings from Croatia.
Thank you very much, Dr. Lovric. Our final address before we move on to the keynote address will be by Dr. Kenan Yusuf Sadir. He is the former president of the APIMSF from 2017 to 2019. He is a professor at the Azerbaijan National Academy of Sciences and is the chief physician of the State Border Service Military Hospital of Azerbaijan. Dr. Kenan, please.
Greeting message from past president of Ambros Pare International Medical Surgical Forum 2017 to 2019, Professor Dr. Kenan Yusufzadeh, to participants of webinar organized by Asian Collaboration for Trauma and Ambros Pare International Military Surgical Forum, 20 April 2022. Dear distinguished chairman of Asian Collaboration for Trauma, Dr. Rolando Gerardo de la Cruz, and president of Ambros Pare International Military Surgical Forum, Dr. Kosalo Samarantne. Dear conference faculty, dear webinar attendants and participants, welcome you to this event now. In this difficult time of the pandemic, which has changed the world view and the increasing frequency of local wars, such as the last war between Russia and Ukraine, I consider holding a webinar on this actual topic very useful and necessary. Ambros Pare International Medical Surgical Forum, which is the part of International Surgical Society, is distinguished by its prestigious performances at the World Congresses for Surgeons. During its activity, many events and meetings of all continents of the world, has extensive experience in military surgery and trauma. Along with my military service, I was also fortunate to become the president of Ambros Pare International Military Surgical Forum 2017-2019 and hold major conferences and share my experiences with colleagues, first at the head of the military hospital and then the head of Military Medical Department of State Border Service of Azerbaijan. For examples, we organized in 2013 Military Surgical International Symposium in Baku. In 2018, it was organized by Ambroise Paré, the first Congress of Ambroise Paré International Military Surgical Forum, which devoted to 30th anniversary of activity of our society. In 2019, we organized Field Military Surgical and Trauma Days in deliberated lands of southwest of Azerbaijan. After many years of services in the ranks of frame of the State Border Service of Azerbaijan, at the end of October 2021, I was discharged to the reserve of the Armed Forces of the Republic. My military career ended with victory of the 44 days Karabakh War and the liberation of Azerbaijan lands after 30 years from Armenian occupation. All these years of my services were useful for the development of my military surgical skills. Thereafter, I am still active as a trauma surgeon and proud to take part in this amazing webinar with all you. The Asian Collaboration for Trauma is a non-stock, non-profit federation of national organizations and institutions of trauma and injury care providers in Asian countries. This young organization is a relatively short period of time was able to unite many professionals who are not indifferent to trauma as a science. And for us, the Association of Asian Collaboration for Trauma with Ambroise Paré International Military Surgical Forum is of tremendous importance in terms of expanding our knowledge and experience in this area of medicine. I welcome all participants of the webinar. Greetings to conference, faculty, speakers, and moderators. I know many of them personally. I thank again to the organizers of the incredible webinar led by Chairman of the Asian Collaboration for Trauma, Mr. Rolando, and President of Ambroise Paré International Medical Surgical Forum, Mr. Kosala, with success from start to finish. I believe that this webinar will benefit many participants and unite us all even stronger in the name of saving people. Thank you very much, my dear friends.
Trauma has been associated with conflicts since ancient days. In fact, trauma is the Greek word for injury or wounds. Ambroise Paré, the namesake of this military organization and the source of this collaboration of ACT for this webinar, was a French barber surgeon in the 16th century. Surgeons were craftsmen rather than physicians, which is why the reason why surgeons were addressed as Mr. rather than as a doctor in the UK. They addressed me as Mr. Chu. I've lost a doctor, and Ambroise Paré was a military surgeon. During this webinar, the speakers talked about 1, penetrating wounds from gunshots and explosions, the favorite tools of war. 2, the triaging and management of many severely injured patients, like in a bomb blast. 3, the training of personnel in war injuries, taking the experience of Israel. And 4, the latest developments that we have learned in recent wars and conflicts. We should always be learning, and from many parts of the world, we get better each time. The next webinar is about collaboration around the world. 5 speakers from around the world talk about collaboration with trauma, with Asia. and what Asia can learn from the rest of the world. North America, South America, Europe, Africa, and Australasia. And of course, Asia commenting on this collaboration. It is truly a global effort. So see you again the next round. It is always better to watch it live, but if you missed it or you want to listen to it again, all these lectures by some of the best speakers in the world are posted online eventually. So in the meantime, good night to some, good morning, and good afternoon to others. Thank you.